Top things you want to consider before planning your backpacking trip. Number one, consider the weather and the time of year. Usually I will look into what is the best time of year to go visit that area. And then also, depending on what time of year and what the weather looks like, what kind of gear will I need for that type of trip. Number two is if you're going to need permits at all, and if so, what kind. So sometimes you need a permit just to enter the park. Sometimes you need a day hiking permit, and a lot of times you need permits to stay overnight, whether it's in dispersed camping sites or in designated camping sites. Many of the popular destinations for backpacking can be pretty tricky to get permits. So you'll want to look into when you can apply for your permit and what would be the best way to score a permit. I usually will email the backcountry office just to make sure that I have the right information, but also that I know the best way that I can try to get a permit. Third thing you want to think about is what you actually want to accomplish on the trip. What kind of mileage per day would you like to do, and what are the top things that you want to make sure that you have time to see? One of the other important things to consider is the difficulty level of what you're going to be doing. So you want to take into account elevation changes, what type of terrain you'll be on, will you be crossing any types of creeks, how long will you be carrying water from one place to another where you can refill, and considering all those kinds of things when you're planning. Next thing you want to think about is if you're going to be taking a shuttle, if you're going to be driving, or even if you're going to be hitchhiking. A lot of times you have to look into if you're going to be driving a car, where you can park a car, where it's safe, and if you'll need a permit to do so. Sometimes the shuttles you have to book in advance, and you have to figure out where the shuttles will actually take you. Next thing, what is this, 6? I don't know. What kind of trail closures could be happening, or road closures? So sometimes there'll be certain trails that are shut down or roads that are shut down either certain times of year or after a fire or some other incident that's happened. So you need to make sure that you look into that before planning your trip. And then you also want to be aware of the wildlife in the area. So does the area require you to carry a bear canister? And some of the places rent them instead of you having to buy them. Also checking into what kind of environment you're going to be in and what could potential dangers be. So when I'm out in the Southern California section of the PCT, there is a beautiful plant called a poodle dog bush out there. Although it's very pretty, it is extremely poisonous and you can end up in the emergency room. So you need to be aware of what kind of plants there could be, wildlife. Make a plan. Don't be afraid to ask questions, join Facebook groups, or call the backcountry office in order to get a better understanding of how to have the best and safest trip you can have.